Cambodia. It's home to some of the most awe-inspiring temples known to mankind. So not surprisingly, over 4.5 million people choose to holiday here each year. From its bustling local markets to music and theatre, Cambodia is rich in culture and full of celebration. However, there is also a dark history here. In the 1970s, Cambodia was torn apart by a brutal genocidal war led by the infamous Pol Pot. By 1979, over a quarter of the population were dead, and Cambodia was a country collectively traumatised. When the regime was ousted, there was a power void, and it was from that void that a new industry emerged: sex slavery. Shaped by the Khmer Rouge regime, fed by poverty, and built on vulnerable children, Cambodia's sex trafficking industry still thrives across the country today. For many of Cambodia's daughters, they will never escape this world. I've come to Cambodia to explore the complex and unending forces that continue to allow this industry to thrive. Cambodia's capital, Phnom Penh, is a city of extremes. Hotels, high-rises, restaurants and shopping malls are springing up across the capital. It's a testament to the city's recent economic boom. But many Cambodians will never set foot inside one of these shopping malls. The vast gap between rich and poor means many people struggle to access life's basic necessities like food, housing, medical care and education. And this poverty is one of the major forces underpinning Cambodia's sex industry. To further explore the other forces at play, I've made contact with a small non-profit organisation, Connecting Hands. Based in a side street in Phnom Penh, the Connecting Hands Training Cafe is dedicated to working with survivors of sex slavery. For the next 10 days, the manager and founders of this cafe will be my guides into the lives of some of the poorest and most vulnerable women and girls in Cambodia.
Women in Cambodia are all commodities. It's like, well, what kind of value, monetary value can we get out of you? And if it's not a monetary value, it's a slave labour type situation.
In a country with widespread poverty, the low value of women easily translates into sexual exploitation. And added to this is the brutal legacy the Pol Pot regime has left. These forces together create a particularly exploitative and violent sex industry.
The Pol Pot regime in the Khmer Rouge was very violent, and even today people don't like to talk about it.
There's still a lot of torture involved. I think the torture has grown, and the way they do things to control the women has grown in a big cycle, hasn't it?
Yeah, some of the things that they do to control the women, obviously other than taking away their passport, any documentation that they have, any sense of value, that's just stripped away from the women. They're threatened that they will kill their sisters, their mothers, if they try and escape. They're fed hot chili until they'll service their first client, because most of the girls are taken against their will, therefore don't want to participate. A lot of them are 12 and 13-year-old girls that obviously do not want to be in this industry.
The bars and that the men all sit in, porn is just played constant, so it stimulates them. They go and get a girl off the street and they gang rape her.
They'll have car batteries attached to their tongue and they'll be electrocuted. I mean, some of the girls have had their breasts chopped off. A lot of mothers we've sat with have actually had their stomachs stomped up and down on while they're pregnant.
Many of these forms of torture replicate the torture used during the Khmer Rouge regime. Today I'm going with cafe manager and outreach worker Chantha to the old railway line. This is where many of the poorest sex workers live. Their reasons for ending up here are largely tied to poverty and exploitation.
Some come here because of their poverty, some they come because they have been dead, and some because of trafficking. Some were cheated by her friend or her boyfriend, and some they have low education and could not earn the money in the province. So they desire to come into the city for to get a good job. But up to them have a low education, so they could not find a good job.
There is a thriving trade in girls from the provinces to the cities.
They're told that they're going to be a domestic servant. They'll get paid for it, they'll be able to send money back home, they'll get an education, they'll get 3 meals a day. If you've got 4 or 5 kids that you're trying to feed and you're working 17 to 18 hour day, and then you think, well, if I sell one of my children, I'll get to feed the children that I have, and this one's going to be looked after. Logic tells you, why not?
Not surprisingly, these promises often prove to be false, and instead girls become trapped in the city.
Just to work on the street. They will borrow money from the girl here. And then after delivery a baby, they will find the money to pay for them back to them. For the pregnancy girl, after they delivery a baby, they just have a rest. Just 1 day or 2 days after, they will get up and go to stand on the street and to make money.
A lot of the girls on the street have debt on their head, don't they? That's why they're on the street.
Paying off a debt, and that debt will last a lifetime unless somebody steps in and helps them.
Devalued by society, sex workers are also dangerously vulnerable to violent abuse.
People are raped by 18 to 20 customers and without pay money to her at their house. She cut her hand to make to see the blood, or she can suck it. She can suck the blood, make them happy, make them to feel good. They are serious in using heroin, but she hasn't enough money to buy a heroin, so she cut her hand from one place to one place. Yeah. After she cut her hand, she will see a blood. When she see the blood, her mind to be good to replace the heroin, the film or inject heroin.
A lot of women become addicted to heroin after being forced into drug use by their pimps to make them more compliant in servicing customers. Once addicted, they depend on the heroin to dull the pain of the violence and the abusive sex they experience. It's a brutal world, and one very difficult to escape.
For one thing, for the girl who live on the railway, they will get from the customer $4 to $5 only. Yeah, and most of the girls they not have a seat in a karaoke or beer garden. They go to the guest house. The cost of the guest house amount $1.2 for just a moment, not a whole day. In this cost, she will pay herself to the guest house.
This is where they take the girls.
At the guest house, the owner have put the condom in each room. Yeah, but if the customer refuse not to use condom, she follow to the customer because she want money.
And the lack of safe sex leaves the women at much greater risk of contracting HIV or AIDS, or becoming pregnant.
A lot of the women want to wear condom because they don't want to be pregnant. If they're pregnant, they're out of action, even though it might be just for a few days. But
they've got no say.
They have no say. So if they do have child, it's in a few days' time that they're back servicing men again.
The pressure on these women to keep making money is enormous. On top of paying for the guest house, the women's pimps also take a cut of the money they earn. And if they don't have any customers, then they make no money at all, with their debts all the time steadily mounting.
The room that they rent per each month is $20 to $25. Room. many rooms.
And many of these rooms are little more than dark hovels stacked on top of rubbish and open sewerage.
In the day, they must to spend $2.50 for the room that they rent. When they could not get a customer in the day, she will have adapt to the owner of the rent room. So in her life always have adapt. So they could not live away from a sick worker.
Most of the girls down the railway line will end up as prostitutes, the little ones, or sold, unless they get schooling and education. That's their future.
Very so hard. She study on 4 grade.
Will she soon start working as a sex worker as well?
Not yet.
Yeah.
In the future.
Young girls often begin as sex workers in one of the many karaoke bars that can be found in Phnom Penh.
The karaoke girl, they are very young. Their first start, they are 13 or 14, yeah. In the brothel or in the karaoke or in the massage. For the young girl who are just a new arrival or new girl. And very, very young, they not allow her to sit at outside. For the young, they keep in the room. When have the special customer, they can get the new girl.
A lot of what's happening, especially with young children, is pushed so far underground. Western men travel here to take a virgin.
You can get away with it. You can come to Cambodia, go to a hotel, and the girl is brought to you. You can buy her for a month or a week or however long you want, and nobody's going to say anything.
The locals sort of tend to go towards the cheaper end of scale, so your karaoke bar, your parks, your really poor industry, whereas Westerners come here in mind for younger kids.
For many reasons, including poverty, children are sold into the sex industry. They may end up in a brothel, a karaoke bar, on the streets, or be trafficked to foreign countries such as China.
A lot of mothers will sell their children thinking they're going to be a domestic servant, but they'll also be provided an education. But that's not the case.
Well, that's how they get sold as China brides. They all say that you can give your daughter a better life if you sell them.
Often the case, they turn up and they're forced into a small room, they're handcuffed, they're fed intravenous drugs to desensitise them from where they are or what they're doing, and they never find their way back home to their family. To say that the authorities aren't doing anything would be a lie, because some authorities are doing something about it, but then there's corruption in the authorities, so therefore you've got police that will stand outside a brothel door and they'll either want a payment or they'll want servicing themselves before they'll actually walk away. Therefore, then the girls need customers. If their girls aren't getting customers, they'll get belted by their pimp. So it's a catch-22. So if the police stand out the front, they know that they're going to want them to go away, so they're either going to give them money or sex in return.
Escaping this web is close to impossible without help from outside. After my time here, I've come to understand much better the incredible importance of the work being done by organisations like Connecting Hands.
All the girls that are connecting hands, they are from the sick worker, from the poverty, from the violence. So most of them are vulnerable girls.
ពីមុនដោយសារឃើញគ្រួសារក្រីក្រពេកដាក់ឈ្មោះទៅស្រុកគេអញ្ចឹងបងទៅចិននិយាយពាក់កណ្ដាលសិនហើយហើយទៅប៉ូលីសអ្នកមេខ្យល់ហ្នឹងគេឲ្យយើងសោកលុយប៉ូលីសហ្នឹងឲ្យយើងបានចាញ់ណាតែគេអត់ឲ្យចាញ់ទៅទេចង់ឲ្យកូនខ្ញុំរៀនខ្ពស់ហើយមានចំណេះដឹងខ្លួនឯងការងារល្អៗជាទីភាពខ្ញុំផឹងឲ្យកូនខ្ញុំរៀនខ្លួនខ្ញុំផឹងធ្វើការហ្នឹងយកលុយដើម្បីឲ្យកូនរៀនអនាគតទៅ
One of the girls, her stepmother sold her and she was a sex worker for a long time, and she's got a little girl.
And her child was left in that same family environment. Her daughter was 5 at the time. She was worried that's the prime age where Young girls are sold for their virginity, and this was playing on her mind, having gone through the same situation herself. So we were fortunate enough to be able to reunite her with her daughter and save her daughter from the same fate that her mother would have went through.
4-10 ខែ 4-10 ចឹងត្រូវហើយ 4-10 ពេលអាយុ5ឆ្នាំហើយជួនពេលខ្លះខ្ញុំសួរគាត់ថាសិពេលធំទៅធ្វើការអីធ្វើការដូចម៉ាក់ចង់ធ្វើម្ហូបដូចម៉ាក់យើងហ្នឹងអនាគតទៅខ្ញុំចង់ឲ្យកូនខ្ញុំរៀនខ្ពស់ជាងខ្ញុំមកចេះដឹងជាងខ្ញុំអញ្ចឹងណាបាយចិត្តនេះទីហានបានផ្ដល់គ្រប់បែបយ៉ាងឲ្យខ្ញុំអញ្ចឹងពេលខ្ញុំនៅនេះទីហានពេលថាខ្ញុំបាត់ភាពភ័យខ្លាចអញ្ចឹងណាហើយ
A lot of people I know would have just gone in a corner and hid and cried and not wanted to come out. I mean, I would do that. But they haven't. They've gone, okay, I'm going to make a go of this. I deserve more.
It would be easy to become overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the problem of sex slavery in Cambodia. But after my time here, I'm heartened to know that at least some of these women and girls will no longer have to live in fear.